At this year's CinemaCon, industry insiders were treated to an exclusive first look of Amazon MGM's 2026 adaptation of Andy Weir's wildly popular sci-fi novel, Project Hail Mary. As I may have mentioned on this channel before, this is hands down one of my most eagerly awaited book-to-screen translations ever. The footage shown at the event was packed with details, giving us plenty to examine. While we only have a handful of stills featuring the cast and crew on stage discussing the film post-teaser, several articles have surfaced with vivid descriptions of what was shown. So let's dive in, break it down, and explore what these clues hint at for the final product. By the way, I will be discussing spoilers for at least the first part of the book. Alright, so here's the footage that was previewed at this event, and here's the description of it. So the footage began soundtracked to Harry Styles' Sign of the Times, and it opened with Gosling as a teacher in a classroom of youngsters. He's approached by Hewler's character with a dire warning that the Earth is in danger, as is the rest of the galaxy. "I ride a bike to work," he says, in denying the proposition to get involved on the top secret mission. "I'm sure there are better people than me." She doesn't take no for an answer, as he seems to be forced in the back of a black SUV. The next sequence shows Gosling's character at the mission's home base, where he again tries his best to pass on the opportunity as Hewler's warnings become even more urgent. "The sun is not the only star dying," she relays. "There is a pattern of infection. In order to save, well, every planet and everyone, the mission requires an astronaut to go to space to clear up the world-ending scenario, or everything on this planet goes extinct. As it's revealed that whomever goes on the mission may not survive, unless it's a successful Hail Mary. It's clear she's asking for Grace to volunteer for the mission, but again, he declines. Who is going to sign up for that? Gosling's character says. "I'm not an astronaut." Gosling then delivers a series of lines that are sure to catch on. "I put the knot in astronaut. I can't even moonwalk. And some people are not good at things. You have the right stuff. I have the wrong stuff." So right away, my impressions are that it does seem that they're going to streamline some things. And I think if anything was going to be streamlined, it would be that beginning portion, laying the groundwork for the setting and the stakes with humanity at risk and all of the galaxy, basically because it's an infection that is spreading and killing the sun and other stars, obviously. But that's getting into the book lore stuff. I think they're giving away the basic premise. And honestly, it's the story, it's the journey that is so captivating. This is the basic premise, and what's really interesting is the characters, the character development. And yeah, it sounds like from this description that the characters and their core traits are intact, that this is definitely inspired by the source material. So Sandra Hüller's playing Ava Stratt, who's just in charge of this whole expedition to save humanity and has carte blanche to use whatever resources of the Earth that she has. She always gets what she wants. So it very much sounds in keeping from this description of the footage with her character. And I'm happy about that. The way that they interact together, their characters, it's very funny. So there are other descriptions of the same footage that are slightly different, so we'll add some more context for us. From Deadline, it said that Ryan Gosling's character, Ryland Grace, reluctantly is sent out in a spaceship after asking Sandra Hüller's character about the mission. "The astronauts die in space? Who is going to sign up for that? I put the knot in astronaut. I've never done a spacewalk. I can't even moonwalk." Definitely sounds straight from the source material. He's very cheesy. Ultimately, he does go to space and must save Earth from an astronomical catastrophe. In space, he deals with a lot of calamities. The music in the trailer shown this evening is Harry Styles' Sign of the Times, and reports back, "So I met an alien who is kind of growing on me. At least he's not growing in me." I think that's an actual line from the book. I'm actually surprised they revealed this, but I don't know how you would hide it. And honestly, I can see why they would want to use that as a draw for audiences. So again, it's the journey, and it's going to be a wonderful journey. But the book does start with Ryland Grace waking up on the spaceship already and not having any clue as to why he's there and even where he is and what he's doing. It's very cool to experience the story as it unfolds, him piecing together what even his mission is, because obviously it's very dire. They show that in the footage, what's going on, but as they move forward in the footage, he has no idea who he is and what he's doing. I wonder if they're going to do flashbacks. I mean, the book obviously does that, back and forth, when whatever happens in the present is relevant to the past, and he's like piecing it together. So that'll be interesting. So this is an article from Gizmodo. Project Hail Mary looks like the sci-fi movie event of 2026. The writer of the article says, in the footage, we meet Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace, a college professor at what appears to be a rather small school. I don't think he's a college professor. I think he's teaching like middle school. They're definitely young students. It's just so confusing to hear this secondhand sometimes with these details, but this is what it says, college professor at what appears to be a rather small school. A woman named Ava comes into his classroom and asks him if he wrote a specific paper. He says he did, but he was fired for it. Well, it seems his theories could be useful because the rumors everyone has heard on Earth are true. The sun is dying, and he's whisked off by Ava to help. That definitely sounds very much like the source material. And again, I think they're going to streamline a lot of these early portions or the backstory. So we'll see how much they dedicate to that. It continues, this is Project Hail Mary, Ava says, as she and Ryland enter a massive room filled with very smart-looking people. Later, Ava explains that the sun isn't the only star that's dying. Many stars are all showing a pattern of infection across the universe, except one. A plan is in place, but Ryland almost can't believe it, so he lays it out. It involves near light-speed travel that doesn't exist and traveling so many miles the astronauts will never make it home. He's told it's that or the entire world dies. Who's going to sign up for that? Ryland asks, and everyone is quiet, staring at him. He can't believe it. He's not an astronaut. But Ava says they say they don't need an astronaut, they need an expert. I put the not in astronaut, he says. You have the right stuff, but I have the wrong stuff. As you can guess, Ryland goes into space anyway. There's some super cool images of the ship in a deep, dark nothing. He wakes up out of his sleep with a big beard. We see him doing a bunch of weird stuff on the ship. He floats into space for a second. Eventually, the ship enters a shimmering pink area, and on the other side, we see another spaceship. This other ship looks like it's almost made out of wood. Very thin, sharp pieces of wood, all stacked on top of each other. It slows down next to Ryland's ship. Out shoots a small cylinder. Ryland freaks out that the ship is sending him something. He thinks it's a bomb, but when it just bounces off his ship, he realizes it's a message. We see the ships connect and Ryland go into the alien ship, which is much more biological than Ryland's. Anybody home? He asks as he drops in a light, but then the light comes back. He gets to a window at the end of the tunnel and a two-fingered hand touches the window. Cut to Ryland doing a video. So I met an alien, he says. And he's growing on me, not in me, which was at one point a concern. This adds so much. Okay, it was an extended trailer that certainly felt like it was a lot of the movie, but having read the book, it's really only about half of it. So much more happens, and we can't wait to see it all play out. It opens on March 20th, 2026. So at first I was a little confused because it said that he went into the alien ship, but what I think it is just the tunnel that's on his side that just looks different because it's going to have Rocky's atmosphere and all of that. I don't know how they're going to do that. They did something with the tunnel, but he never goes into the ship. That just added so much to that description. That's why I'm saying it's so frustrating to hear these different accounts of this footage, and some people are leaving out extremely crucial details. I am so excited. I can't believe they showed the ship, and it looks like it was made of wood. Interesting. Very thin, sharp pieces of wood, all stacked on top of each other. Oh, this is so cool. Xenonite, obviously. Okay, I just want to say, I find these events extremely frustrating. Events like this, they're mostly just for the industry people, because I hate getting these descriptions secondhand from people that were in attendance, and there's also like some differences between the different people that were there. It was very frustrating when Doom Part 2 was premiered at CinemaCon, and to get just secondhand descriptions was very confusing because there's no context as far as the visuals goes, so that was annoying to me. And everyone's recollection of it is slightly different. Sometimes the way they may hear the dialogue may be different. It's a little bit frustrating not having the images and sounds have that added context. So I get it. This is their industry event, but we're the ones that it's for. We're the customers. We're the fans. Hopefully they'll release this footage soon, and then we'd have the full context ourselves and dive into all of the details and obsess over it. So piecing together these descriptions, it seems pretty clear that the film will streamline some of the book's flashback sequences, which are Ryland's memories of his life before the Hail Mary mission takes off. The lack of any mention of crewmates, combined with that beard detail, has me wondering if they might cut both the deceased astronauts he wakes up to find and the robotic arms that tend to him during his coma. Obviously, I would love it if they kept as much of the book's details in there as possible. And when it comes to the deceased astronauts, I do feel that that was an important detail of his character arc. It was something that kind of bonded Ryland and Rocky. They both were in mourning for their deceased crewmates. And that wouldn't be surprising. Adaptations often trim elements like these to keep the pacing tight, so I get it. When it comes to the pink haze surrounding the ships, it's possible that that may be the astrophage, and it would definitely be a creative liberty since Ryland needed a specialized scope in the book to spot the petrovaline they create. As for Rocky's ship that looks like it's made out of wood, for newcomers to Project Hail Mary, it might throw them off, but fans will recognize it as xenonite, a metal with near infinite tensile strength that's pivotal to the story in some really clever ways. I'm genuinely excited to see how they bring that to life on screen. Ultimately, the real heart of this movie has to be Rocky, the alien. He's such a one-of-a-kind, utterly lovable character, and his bond with Ryland is the emotional core of the story. Some might argue his reveal should have been saved for the theater, however, he's too central to the story. Audiences need to know going in that this film, at its root, is a story about friendship, which to me is what the greatest fictional stories are all about. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on these descriptions of the footage shown at CinemaCon. Does this heighten your anticipation for this film? Let me know your thoughts with either jazz hands or balled up tapping fists in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more sci-fi and fantasy news, theories, and lore. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, you can leave a super thanks or join as a YouTube member for early access to new videos and other perks. You can also check out my Patreon page for exclusive content. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.